Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds. Me and Zach today talking about the second and third games in the WPL, which, oh my goodness, what a start to the tournament. I cannot express enough how impressed I am with the start of the WPL. There was really good feedback on the last video that we did. All of you guys seem very keen for us to cover more WPL content, so we will absolutely do that. So, subscribe to hear more and leave a like so we know that you're enjoying the content. So the first game we're going to look at is RCB, Zach's beloved RCB, some might say, and Delhi Capitals. Because, got to say, RCB's introduction to the WPL has started quite similar to RCB's first ever game in the IPL, in that they conceded a hell of a lot of runs. Zach, what are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, it was brutal, really, by Meg Lanning, who's one of the best batsmen in women's cricket, and Shafali Verma, who's one of the best upcoming batsmen in 2020 cricket. I mean, what an opening partnership. And I think that's what's great about tournaments like the IPL and the WPL is we see the best in the game playing together, and it's basically like playing fantasy cricket or a video game. You can pick your best players. But yeah, they were hard to bowl at, really, from an RCB point of view. RCB spent a lot of their purse getting some top quality batsmen and all-rounders, but yeah, their bowlers weren't quite up to the task of getting those early breakthroughs. And it was down to just class batting. We talked yesterday about the placement of I can't remember her name. It's gone out of my head.
Harmanpreet Kaur.
Harmanpreet Kaur, that's the one. Yeah, we talked about her placement and how she was able to pick the gaps, and it was the same for Meg Lanning. That's what seems to set apart the great batters in the women's game. The great batters in the women's game is their ability to find those gaps, and Meg Lanning did that superbly. But Shafali Verma was just pure hitting, and then at that point it was just fun for the other batters, to come in and just have a go and try and post a massive score.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Marizanne Kapp played finisher role really well. She was just clarting sixes. And Jemima Rodriguez, or Jemima, I don't know how you say her name, but she's a proper up-and-comer. And she's a batter that I'm really excited to see going forward, because she's like still really young. And I remember hearing about her a couple of years ago now. And yeah, I think she's got an exciting career ahead of her, because she could be a proper talent. And then RCB, they just didn't really have the minerals to combat it. I mean, the RCB bowling was poor, to say the least. I thought like Heather Knight took the only 2 wickets, and honestly, I think she burgled them. It was almost like Lanning and Verma just kind of got bored. So Lanning just danced down the track when Knight was bowling like around the wicket. That's how desperate they'd got. And she just missed a wild sweep, and got bowled. And then Verma, again, sort of just danced down the track and had a wild swipe. And that was the only way that RCB got any wickets. And then their batting was a bit of a struggle. Big shout out to Alice Capsey, who obviously is an English player, so she is way up there in our support. But also Tara Norris, who is a USA player, and we don't see a lot of them, to be honest. But she is part of Team USA, and she was absolutely brilliant. Took a fiver.
It's an interesting one, because the American football team is better for the women, or soccer, as they'll say in America. The women's soccer team is better than the men's soccer team in America, whereas every other game, the USA aren't as good. So I think that could be an interesting thing, is if the USA women start playing more and producing more cricketers, and they could be up there with the best teams in the world, which would be a great way for us to see Americans play cricket. A good introduction to them. But just one last thing on the RCB team, that a lot rides on 4, I would say, key players, which are Mandana, Elise Perry, Heather Knight, and Megan Shutt, the bowler, who is a good lower order batsman as well. So a lot rides on those 4 players, and we spent quite a lot on those 4 players, and Sophie Devine as well, I guess. So it'll be interesting to see how RCB managed to fill the gaps and whether they can, and whether other players can stand up and do a lot towards ensuring more victories going forward.
So moving on to the next game, we had Gujarat in for their second game in 2 days. So pretty hard stuff for them. And UP Warriors, not Up Warriors, like me and Benji said in the preview and got absolutely rinsed in the comments for it. UP Warriors, Uttar Pradesh Warriorz, in their first game. And I've got to say, it was a very entertaining game. Went right down to the wire. And again, in these last 2 games that we've had, and the first game, we've seen these innovations where people can review certain decisions. So I think in the last game, the RCB game, there was a review for waist high no ball that wasn't given, wasn't overturned. And in this one, like sort of last sort of ball of I think it was 3 balls from the end, they reviewed wide, and it was given, and that was like, huge stuff. So I'm really liking these innovations that the women's game's bringing with these new rules. I love that. But yeah, looking at that first innings, Gujarat Giants, obviously without Beth Mooney because she's injured, that is a big dampener for them. But they've got Sophia Dunkley, who I think is a really good replacement anyway. But wasn't quite up to the task. And I think regular wickets was the story. And that was the key to UP Warriors' initial success, was just every time a partnership looked like it was going to happen, there was just very tight bowling, notably from Sophie Eccleston, who, in my opinion, is probably the best bowling all-rounder in women's cricket.
Yeah.
And because she's also a really good batter, like lower order. And Deepti Sharma, who showed just really good skill. She is a proper wily character when it comes to bowling. And she, is a top quality showcase today. So yeah, not much in the way of like standout performances apart from Harleen Deal. Other than that, though, it was a relatively tame batting performance on what looked like a relatively difficult track. What did you think of UP Warriors' chase?
Well, it was all Gujarat Giants, really, in terms of the wicket take. Well, all Kim Garth, really, because she just blew away that top order, and it was very impressive. And even got Kiran Navgir, who was the one who was holding the innings together, really. And it was looking like that was it. UP Warriors didn't look anywhere near the target. And then somehow the G factor just kicked in, as we're so used to seeing it happen in the IPL. And yeah, I mean, Grace Harris just seemed to win out of nowhere. Just clean hitting, not able to really bowl at her. There wasn't really an area that she was weak at, really. And she's a young player. She's only just really getting started in her career, and she looks very impressive. And that sort of an innings is the sort of thing that will give the UP Warriors a lot of confidence moving forward. It will give their top order more confidence, knowing that you've got a player like that to come in at, say, 6 or 7. So, yeah, massive victory for them. And that wide, it was quite tense at the end, wasn't it? It was that maybe it'll go wide, maybe it won't. And that review could have made it tenser than it was, but I think Grace Harris was like, well, I'm just going to hit the ball for a nice scoop 6 to seal the game anyway, so that wide didn't matter. She was just in such good form. And the thing for Gujarat is when you lose your first game, the worst thing to do in your second game is lose a close one.
Yeah,
that definitely really knocks you as a team. They've already lost their captain. They've now lost a really close game. So it's
It's not looking good for them.
Not looking good at the start of this tournament. Maybe they need to play the Royal Challengers Bangalore, and that will help them out.
That tends to help.
Yeah.
But that leads us quite nicely onto the one CNQ we're going to take today. So if you want your Cricket Nerds question to have a chance of being answered, leave a Cricket Nerds question down in the comments below. But our CNQ is from a legend of the game, PD, who has said, CNQ WPL edition. I know it's too early to analyse, but let's play a blind bet. Do you think Mumbai Indians will lift the first WPL trophy? Now, this was after one game had been played, so this is extrapolation at its absolute finest. So if we're just using the data that we've got so far, it's between Mumbai, Delhi Capitals, and UP Warriors. that's the three teams that we're talking between. So if I'm just going to throw a random team out there as my guess, I would probably say that Mumbai will win the first. But it's very difficult to say with such little evidence. But yeah, I'm happy to throw out a wild guess there and say, yeah, Mumbai are going to win. Who do you think is going to win the tournament, Zach?
I don't like to agree, but I'm going to have to agree. And I think that the basis of that is that when you get to the end of an auction, you can usually say, oh, that team's done really well because they've got the big names. I think we saw that with James's beloved Punjab Kings in the last edition of the IPL. You get to the end of the auction, you're like, yes. And then when you look a bit closer at all the teams that end up doing well are the ones with all bases covered. And I think Mumbai have all bases covered in this tournament. I think some other teams might have bigger names or better players, but Mumbai seem to have all the bases covered for me.
Yeah. Right. That's a perfect place to end. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share and like and tell your friends about us. Thank you once again. Don't forget to leave your comments below. You can follow our social medias. We are at Cricket Nerds Pod. Follow us on Twitter. We're relatively active on there. So yeah, we need more followers. And we'll see you guys later. Goodbye.